It's real hard to have self-respect or self-belief if you don't know who you are. And I think a lot of us take for granted how well we know ourselves. We think, well, yeah, me, I obviously, I know who I am. I think it takes a lot more work to really know who you are, and it takes a lot more intentionality. There's a question I love throwing around in counseling and in my closer friendships, in those deeper type of conversations. I like throwing around a version of what's something you like about yourself? What's something unique about you? Something you're proud of? And when you push for an answer that's not productivity based or achievement based, it can stump people. And it's weird because you can juxtapose that lack of kind of self-knowledge with the fact that we all speak fluent meme. We all know what Netflix shows just dropped. We all know what book talk is pushing down our throats. We all know that stuff. But what about that unique, individual, irrepeatable identity within us, instead of just the conglomerate identity of our culture? What about us? Do we know that? And I think a sad part of this is that often intentionally we bury that version of ourselves out of a desire to be liked, a desire to fit in. We do this on social media and we do this in real life. There's so many issues with that we could point to and talk about and get into, and perhaps one day we will. But for now, I want to point out two issues. One, that relationship you're building is built on a falsehood. Yeah? You're not being fully you, so they don't know you. So how can they like you if they don't really know you? You're only feeding them a version of yourself that you think won't ruffle feathers, that won't stick out too much, that isn't too weird, that isn't too that isn't too this. You're curating yourself and you're presenting this untrue version of you, so they can't ever really connect fully. They can't ever really get to know you fully because you're not being you. And so that relationship is diluted and less impactful, less meaningful than it could be or should be. That's one thing. And the second is, the longer we keep that nucleus of ourselves buried and hidden, that's a Nacho Libre reference for anybody who caught that. But when you keep that hidden long enough, you can lose it. You can extinguish that irrepeatable individual version of you. And then you lose out on what Joseph Campbell used to call our greatest opportunity, or our greatest gift in this life, which is the opportunity to be ourselves. And look, I'm not a complete idiot. We do this for a reason. There's a reason we don't want to stand out or ruffle feathers or show that weird part of ourselves. It is socially risky. I remember when I started to care about how I looked. I got into fashion and style and stuff around high school, and I was called gay, I was called a loser, I was called a poser, I was called a douche, I was called everything. But that is them and their words. Doesn't have to do with me. I don't have to give it permission to change how I live and do my thing. Because look, I've got a heart condition. My liver is failing, my heart is failing, I got holes in the kidneys. I'm going down. And when I get there, at the end of the day, do I want to have lived the life that they told me to, or the life that made me happy, that I liked, that I wanted to live? I think we all know the answer. So screw them. Who cares what they're saying, dude? I don't need their opinion to sway me. I own the cubic square feet between my skull. And I'm going to continue to live how I want to live. And I encourage you to live how you want to live. Go back and remember who you wanted to be, who you told yourself you were going to be, who you loved, and about, like, what you loved about yourself. Go back and find that. When we were kids and we had that innocence and we were poetry in motion, just being us, there's so many lessons in there, so many things we left behind. So go back and find that version of you, and go be that version. Go live out some of that, of that truth. It sounds a little weird and foo-foo, but I guess just go live a more authentic version of your life, because you will regret it at the end of the day when it's time to check out, because that time is coming. When it's time to check out, you look back and you realize that you were just trying to fit in the whole time. You're going to regret it. Maybe I have a point. Maybe I'm an idiot. I don't know. I should probably stop talking now, though. Take care, guys.